like to record recaps. I would like to begin recaps within the next minute. Your first and only warning. If you are recording, I know Mitch, you like to record, and Heather, I don't know if OBS is still borked. Do let me know if you... Fantastic. Just let me know once we are recording. We are recording! Hell yes. So, last game, we made our way back to camp after meeting with the Myconid colony, Mother, and a clade of kobolds. A number of things happened upon coming back to camp. Would anyone like to recap last session? Mm-hmm. Essentially, agreeing to case this person. Profile this person. Person of interest.
Vanya crafted a bunch of stuff. Got some advice from Edith.
Yes, you had a quiet moment with Edith. Suggestions were made. Potions were crafted. No mushrooms were touched within the portable hole.
That anyone is aware of.
That anyone is aware of. Alina. Did Alina do anything last game? Off screen. Trading paper clips for a loot. Or a fiddle? Something along those lines. A loot. Hell yeah.
I don't think Karn did anything last game.
Karn remembered something.
That's right. He did have a memory. Oh boy.
Upon seeing the Myconid, and the beaded sister.
Yeah, he had some vague memories about them and the woman in green that's haunting his memory. Nothing that was really clear. Only that apparently he's encountered these people before.
Somewhere, sometime, it would seem that you've met this type of person, Myconids, mushroom folk, in some form. It would seem that Mother has distant memories or awareness of an entity referred to as the One Who Forgets. Who else but Karn could meet that description? Let's see, what else happened during that time? Bones pounced on top of Monty at one point, stuck the landing. Wisp made their presence known, attempted to do the same, and knocked Monty to the ground.
Not a graceful cat.
I mean, there are tree cats and there are bush cats, and I'm starting to think that Wisp might be a bush cat. Let's see. Adanu took a few moments to touch base with Leah, and is working on a method to preserve the acquired spell scrolls, somehow to reverse engineer the magic without destroying the magic inside. See how that goes. By and large, you reconnected with those within the caravan, touched base, and checked in on their progress. They've been moving at a slow but steady pace, considering the difficult terrain before them. You are all aware that you are approaching the location of the ziggurat, the stone ziggurat, the black ziggurat, the buried ziggurat, a place of interest to not only the Master Arcanist Reginald Cross of Nyanzuru, but to the Commission as a whole, as well as to the Barlgora Megramos, recently dispatched. Knowing this, you guys do know that is a location of interest, and with your all-terrain folding boat, it is within spitting distance of you. You broke for the evening with that information in mind, knowing that sooner rather than later, you may have to head off in that direction. You all broke for the evening knowing that sooner or later you would have to tackle the other threats in the jungle, knowing that the domain of the King of Feathers is nearby as well. Some of you had some activities as you broke camp for the evening. I believe they were 3 form threads?
Uh,
Fair enough. Let's see, I'll go around round robin, starting with Biff. I believe Biff made a friend during the evening.
yeah, after identifying some rocks, he went and joined Wisp and the Turtles for a bit. They broke, excuse me. Um, after everybody broke apart, he stayed a bit to talk to Wisp and try to get to know him a bit. Wisp was very forthcoming when Biff like showed interest in like their sleeping over for the night. Um, Ultimately, Wisp wasn't interested in Biff that way, but they were still like talked about getting to know what's his name, Theodore. Biff met Theodore and learned quite a bit about Theodore. Tried to think about the markings on Theodore's skull, but couldn't really place them. He had a few thoughts about what they could be, but nothing concrete. Um, so it's just a lot of, meeting this new person who is going to be traveling for a bit.
Yeah, meeting and greeting.
Who the heck is Theodore?
Theodore. Biff has
Wouldn't
met
you
Theodore.
like to know?
Biff has met Theodore, Wisp's traveling companion.
Everyone will meet Theodore eventually.
Let's see. Would you like to describe Theodore?
I
Or
would
shall...
like I would like to describe Theodore as he appears in play because I want live reactions.
Okay, we'll get some face cams. Okay. All right. So, Biff and Wisp met, broke bread, talked about the reasons for their traveling. Talking about his home back in Hexenbraun. Wisp talking about just visiting the various cousins across the island and helping the dead that Wisp encounters. Um, Talked about long-term plans. I believe Wisp would eventually like to become a baker or something to that extent. Plans maybe tentatively being made. Uh, you two got to know each other fairly well. Well, as well as adventurers can know each other at a campfire for the first time. Surprisingly good place to meet people. Going round the bends, around that same time, or perhaps a little earlier, Vanya basically led Verdi off into the woods, and then Verdi took point to lead. Would either of you like to elaborate on this evening rendezvous?
They collected flowers.
I think you're downplaying the flowers, sir.
They were really important flowers.
I mean, if you'd like to remain mum about the situation, I can beat around the bush. I'll play your game.
Verdi expressed his feelings to Vanya.
I figured people would draw their own conclusions once they saw Vanya bedding down next to Verdi.
Well, this is for the record, for the
This is for the recording. This is for
yeah.
the people who actually pay attention on YouTube, all two of them.
All two of them. Yes, we're talking about you.
Our favorites. Love you. So, long story short, Vanya had a number of interests in the forest, various forms of flower that bloom under moonlight. Verdi came up with some suggestions. Vanya had suggestions of her own. A number of specimens, lunar pitchers, moonflowers, and saloon's tears were mentioned among those that could be in the area. Using Natasha and her trusty nose to find a source of clean water, the habitat for such flowers to grow, the two traveling companions made their way to a river which fed into a pond, upon which they discovered a number of different plants. Vanya, you discovered clusters of lemon-scented flowering vines known as moonflower.
They're poisonous.
Very poisonous flowers. Um, Also very potent alchemical reagents. Verdi, you, following the buzzing of fireflies, discovered a cluster of tulip-like flowers with silvered tips. Saloon's tears, as they are known. Rare, valuable, and alchemically potent. Um, as a reminder, Saloon's tears, as the name would imply, are coveted and valued by followers of Saloon as well as silversmiths, um, and those who are superstitious of lycanthropy. Keep that feather in your hat if you so desire. Feelings were exchanged. Um, Secrets were admitted. And the two returned to camp closer than before. There was a third thread with Alina, I believe. Dreams more like dread. Same thing. A nightmare is a dream. Bum 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 bum.
Oh, you should have told me. I would have loved to geek out with you.
Well,
Or at least
there's,
get your opinion.
there's time during the 5-minute break. If we
Yeah,
have
behind
one.
games.
We'll see. Yeah, so Alina touched base. Alina talked about meeting with the family, meeting with grandmother, the Mark, and introduced Jean to it, as well as glossing over the Myconid colony a little bit more, going into detail about the Celestial Gathering. Some tentative plans were made. There seems to be some distrust toward Roger Stone of the Temple of Light, the supposedly non-denominational temple being run by a devout follower of Palor. We'll see how that goes. Helena suggested that there would be checks and balances in the form of Jean, perhaps Gallium, and Bones overseeing just how non-denominational this is. More plans were made to create a greater location for serving those who wish to worship. Perhaps building a missionary, place to arm and prepare those faithful for doing what must be done in the jungles against the undead and the beasts that would prey upon the living. Any particular points that stuck out with you during your thread? Crispy, fried, and ready to game. That said, Biff, Wisp, Alina, Verdi, were there any particular points within your threads that stuck out with you? Anything memorable?
I mean, just like, now I'm compelled to go back and see. But besides the whole uh, really getting to know Theodore and um, shit, I gotta look.
Hey, no worries. I'll probably be asking. Oh, that's lightning. I will probably be asking that question or something similar as games go on, just to kind of get in your heads a little bit and suss out what you find important in these side threads. There's the thunder. Oh boy. Oh, the DM has become a pussycat. Whew.
I'd like to point out that Verdi revealed to Vanya that they had dated Monty for a short time.
Who hasn't? Really, who hasn't? Monty's the welcome wagon. He's very welcoming and very welcoming. Things never really got far with Monty. It got weird. Well, it didn't get weird, but bad things happened shortly after.
Bad things did happen shortly
Bad things
after.
happened shortly thereafter. Alluding to a previous thread. Oh my god, we came full circle. Okay. Anything on your end, Mitch?
No.
Okay, cool beans. So, with that, with threads come to a close and tidied up, and whatever you do with thread, we are transitioning from Evanin, Anna the Ninth, to what's the one after that? Tue, the 10th of Evanin. During that time, you guys would have the entirety of the day or night to pursue your crafts, to prepare your spells, to mingle, to mensch or wench as you see fit. Does anyone have any tasks that they would perform during the evening, the wee hours, if they intend to stay up, or if they trance, what they do, or if they don't sleep, what they do, between the end of last game and the subsequent morning, which will be this game? Oh, for sure. I would assume that during the evening, late after speaking with Jean, you would test this out, or would it be in the wee hours of the morning? Wee hours. Understandable. So then we will start with Alina, as Alina beds somewhat late-ish and wakes up somewhat early in the morning. Um, the tents are still hours from being removed from their pikes, being folded and tucked away. The wagons are being prepared, the beasts of burden being fed and readied for the trek ahead of them. As the sun begins to turn the sky from a black and star-spotted void to a cloudy and milky blue, you wake up before the sun begins to rise. You have maybe not plans, but certainly feelings that you want to confirm, to explore. It's like a nagging sensation when you're trying to sleep. You never quite sleep well until you check that door one last time. Make sure the oven's actually off. Make sure your goldfish is fed, maybe. So as you make your way to the medical tent, you do find there are very few who are wounded. There are a number of early birds tending to the gentleman, Alvin, ranger, who was nearly slain by Megramos, in good health, but sleeping off several levels of exhaustion as he was put through the ringer. You know where he is. You don't actually see him, but you are aware that he is nearby, being tended to by these early birds. You Well, how do you approach this? Pull out your sensor and attempt to use it to heal those who are wounded? Okay. Okay. Is that once per day, or is that just anytime? Okay. So, you hold the sensor in your hand and you look it over, and you utter a phrase in Celestial. What is the phrase? This is up to you.
Volk, damn you.
You can certainly pray to any deity that you choose. If as if Alina's okay. So you are yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you are working in, the clergy or working for any holy institution, Mobius is a polytheistic world. Praying to any god that listens is a common thing. Oftentimes, in moments of desperation, pick a god and pray, or see who's listening. So you fall back upon one of those old Gilnean, not quite an epithet, not quite an epithet.
Epithets are usually swears.
Yeah, not epithet. A curse. Something because I imagine Alina's quite crass. And you begin to sway the sensor. There is a moment where nothing seems to happen. And then there is a flicker, flash, as from the tiny holes within the ball, the sphere, the iron orb filled with holes, the sensor itself. The darkness begins to seep out. Thin wisps of white smoke, almost blue, begin to lift and twirl from the sensor, from those points of non-light, from those points of nothingness. It bears the same mark, the same color as what you have been holding, what you have discovered since being cast out. And you know the two are somehow connected. As you gently waft the smoke around, you hear the sound of coughing from a tent nearby. And then a wet and noisy exhalation from a very gunked up chest. You think you might have just cured someone's tuberculosis, you're not sure, but there is wet coughing and easy breathing from nearby. It produces smoke. And if you were to guess, the healing effect does seem to be present. What's next on Lena's to-do list? find some chores. Well, you're up. There's a lot of lifting to be done. There's a lot of tents to be broken. There are meals to be made. Picking things up and putting them down. All right. So you break away from the healing tents and you begin to look about the general area of the caravan. You know that the wagons are kind of clustered together in a ring, um, with a number of people camping within the ring. You know there is a cordon of guards off facing toward the woods, several many meters away from the camp itself. They know it's out there, and the camp appears to be in a full defensive curl. And you begin to get things moving. It is around this time that those of you who sleep like normal people begin to wake up. The sun makes its way up above the treetops, and golden light begins to spill over the canopy. Let's say it's about 7 a.m.
Karn would have been on guard through the night after he had attained his rest, so nothing new there. He wanders around, watches the sunrise. Vanya would have spent the night next to Verdi, waking up early enough to start seeing about getting herself prepared and making some morning tea.
Alrighty.
Biff would have like slept with Wisp, non-sexually, just together. Um, because
Campers sleeping under the stars.
yeah, because they play a pretty good fiddle, a viola actually. We'll just wake up, look over to see if Wisp is already up. Um, if not, if so, doesn't matter. A nod if they are, then he'll go and do his daily stretches.
Yeah, Wisp is an early riser, so.
Alright. So you find yourselves waking up at around the same time. Biff, as you go out to do your morning stretches, you do see that there is a quartet of turtles toward the rear of the caravan, doing much the same. Midway in through their katas, they're doing balancing and looks like combat, but in slow motion.
Biff would join them insofar as he like goes over and does his routine with them. He doesn't like join in their slow battling because he doesn't know their pace and all. He doesn't want to interrupt their flow, but he's enjoying the uh, company of people, or beings somewhat in the same area as he.
Yeah. I find there are differences between your order and theirs in terms of their physicality and their training and their morning routines. But you do find amicable silence between you and theirs, as well as enough similarities to be able to work within proximity of one another and not feel odd about it. It's not quite like being at the monastery, but it is similar enough to matter. You head off in that direction. Wisp, you mentioned you are an early riser. Are there any tasks that Wisp does?
Um, they generally like wake up, figure out what they want to eat, um, maybe play an instrument for a little bit, or at least pick up camp.
You are free to attempt to forage if you would like to do so. You are close to the woods. There is enough stuff nearby that you can try to scrounge something up, or you can attempt to play and earn yourself, some extra rations if you choose to do that.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
what you're carrying in terms of food, but
Um,
it's
if Wisp can get some free food, that'd be great. So
All right. Go ahead and roll an instrument check at some point. We'll see like just how well received they are.
that's a nat one.
That's a nat
Freaking
one.
cats! Everyone's onto her game.
Wisp gets a couple of looks.
Wisp apparently is just really bad at jumping and really bad at first in the morning performance.
So Wisp begins to perform. What instrument are you using?
I'll go with the viola.
Wisp begins to play the viola, and some of the strings are out of tune, and some of the notes that you hit are just sour. You're met with a couple of glances from various caravaneers, none of which know you. None seem to quite understand who you are. You're met with some degree of scrutiny. You do hear with your tall, tufted ears some comments about stowaways or taggers along, or is he with that tribe? No, the fur isn't black. It's probably fine. A beggar, likely a beggar. And you do receive some somewhat stale rations out of what appears to be pity. It's bland. It's tough. It's not the warmest welcome that you've ever received. But again, these folks are nothing like your cousins. They're soft-skinned with round ears and sharp faces. Bones, you have a passive perception of what, infinity +1? You see this from across the way. Understand. So, Wisp, you see a familiar tabaxi make their way toward you.
Yeah, I'm tuning my viola and kind of cursing under my breath because spirits, somebody played a trick, somebody fucked around with my instrument. Oh, I wasn't begging. Pickpock? No. I I I I wasn't begging really. I wanted to play and see if anybody liked it, and apparently something messed with my viola. Wisp just shrugs. Maybe. You play? I did. A different melody or something similar? I'm not sure. And Wisp will strum on their viola and ponder for a bit. Let's hear how you play strings.
Okay. Bones, you take out your lute and you begin to strum along with Wisp. Um, is there a particular song that you attempt to play, or do you just noodle along with them, improvise? Lute version of the Song of Storms. Mm-hmm. All right. Since you guys are working, okay, it does. You get advantage on your check. So you can roll. You can roll a viola check. It's going to add your proficiency and your charisma at advantage. Because you have Wisp playing along, this is going to affect the DC because you can't double advantage, but more things can happen. 24. Okay. Very nice.
And roll again.
That's looks like it was done at advantage. The KH means keep higher.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, do I roll separately for my performance?
No, it's just going to be Bones making the check. Bear with
Okay.
me for one moment. It smells like Fey bullshit. Let's see. Bones, you recall the sound. You recall the sound of this song, and you've heard a couple different renditions of it. With Wisp in the background, harmonizing and finding points within the song to create a rhythm, create a tempo. You begin to practice this, not improvise, but this spin on the song. Um, Now you tell me, is it as melancholy as you recall, or have you taken it into a different direction? Catchy. Hum it everywhere. As you play the song, you find it getting lodged in your mind. Wisp, you find your tail begin to sway and your ears begin to bob. It's a toe tapper. It bounces, it dances, it springs on the balls of its feet. Bones, you feel something within your fingertips. You feel potential. You feel magic. And as the plectrum in your fingers begins to glow, you hear distant booms along the sky within the forming clouds above. The sun begins to grow dim as thunderheads roll in from above. Caravaners turn their eyes to gaze at the sky in a mixture of concern and wonder as rain droplets begin to fall down from above.
Biff looks up. Oh, did not expect water coming from the side so soon, or at all.
Was that supposed to happen? And Wisp uh pulls up their cloak over their head to try and avoid getting too wet.
There is a disturbance in the force.
Oh, fuck you, Karn.
Karn is just blinking up at the sky and squinting. Uh,
There's a brief flash of lightning across the clouds above. And as the minutes carry on, the rain does not seem to intensify. It doesn't seem to ebb away either. It appears to be a light rain shower
Oh, that was
That
perfect
was
timing.
with brief moments of sunlight which part the clouds here and there. Could not give it a time with the soundboard. Booms continue for some time as now let me ask you this, do you continue to play? Whoops, and then run away. So you continue to play the song and you carry on with that same intensity in mind to turn this into an earworm, to make it something that lasts, something that is remembered, and something that is a transformation of what it once was. Something to celebrate rather than mourn. Sure, sure. Nice. Sending a message. Or that is the intent. You continue to play the song, perhaps a little defiantly, with a little bit of gall in your strings. As you come to a close and play the final notes, the rain subsides. The clouds persist for a little while longer. You know that this is not the season for rain. It is not the monsoon season. Light rains, they're uncommon, but they happen. But the timing is far too suspicious for you.
how does that feel to Karn?
Karn, roll an Arcana check or a check of your choosing. You can roll Nature if you like. Nature, Survival, or Arcana.
Nature was 15.
Nature 15. So you're not so much sensing with your third eye or with your heart, so much as you are sensing with your senses. Your sensory mask has been restored. You can smell rain before it comes. You can feel rain. You know the signs of it. You've walked the forests of the world and the plains of the earth. There was no warning. The trees did not blow with the leaves turned up. The smell of ozone only came after the first cracks of thunder. This does not seem natural. It seems conjured.
I point a finger up at the sky. This one is watching you.
I'm assuming you guys are in relative proximity, you all traveling.
I would assume.
I assume this was still in camp.
Yeah,
you guys are still in camp. It's a large camp. That's why I ask.
it is quite a large camp, but I would assume everyone would be kind of near one another.
So,
Karn kind of wanders, so.
So, Bones, you know for sure that you did that. Others are starting to suspect that something caused this.
So with what Wisp knows and the spirits that they've talked to, do they know anything about the Song of Storms? Is this tune somewhat familiar to them? Have they heard stories about it, or
So, growing up in Tikal, the song, you would know of the name, the Song of Storms, but you would not know the melody until you met Bones.
okay?
You learned what the nature of the song was when camping with them a few nights ago. The song is fresh in your mind, and you know what happened the last time it was played. for a song to create this kind of effect is peculiar to you. It's not unheard of. You know, magic works in mysterious ways. Um, but this does not seem like. It seems like more. You know what? Roll me an Arcana check, actually. Give me an Arcana check.
That's an 8. Wow. Westfall's really low.
With an 8, you do sense that, this is somehow related to the Song of Storms. You heard from Camping Out with Bones and Cross, but this is a song to either bring the storm to you or send the storm away. You're not sure what caused this children's song, this widow's song, to actually do the thing. Somehow the thing was done.
Okay. Okay. Seems like maybe you shouldn't play that unless you want it to rain.
All the more reason to perfect it.
That need rain? They need to hear it. Huh. Okay.
So, Bones, with your really gross passive perception, there is an unexpected side effect to causing a rainstorm. Bear with me for one moment. I'm getting text messages. I'm going to work.
The building.
Okay, yep, nope, it's just group messaging, kvetching at the boss. That's fine. Yeah, we know it's going to rain. If anyone needs me, they're going to call me. So, camp was being.
Oh, keeps going on.
Camp. I'm going to throw this phone out the damn window. Camp was being broken as the rain began, and now it would seem that people have made haste to get their stuff together, to pull their tents up off the ground, and to get the wagons moving. The beasts of burden are being scrambled and shoved to move forward. The wagons are beginning to roll. The soldiers are falling back in. And the entirety of the caravan is beginning to basically pick up and move to beat the rain, which has now gone away. There's a lot of befuddled, well, we're up, we may as well go kind of conversation happening as you find yourself in relative quiet with Wisp and some of your companions nearby. But things are moving.
That's a good way. Better than fire.
Vanya's going to offer Verdi some morning tea as he gets going.
Oh, he will accept tea. It's not his favorite, but he will drink it.
She would add plenty of stored sugar if he prefers something sweet. But she will also present him with a vial of I guess it would be kind of a milky liquid.
Thus is this.
So I was making a bunch of things yesterday before we settled down for the night, and I think this would be useful to you. It is a fortifying Where'd my consumable go? That's Karn's list.
It would help if you're in the right character sheet.
Yes, it would. It is a fortifying tincture. Can give you a little pep if you need it to accomplish certain things.
Oh, well, thank you. I will put it to good use.
Also, who would you recommend to test a potion that has never been tested before? I would normally approach Alina, but I think she has too much on her plate right now.
Verde would just blink at Vanya. It
Innocent expression on her face.
depends on what it does.
Yes, that is the point of finding out. A potion that is meant to bestow a certain buff, a certain enhancements, presumably in combat.
I think maybe Biff would be okay to try.
Excellent. Good to know. Thank you.
Verde is very unsure about this, but okay.
Vanya goes about breaking down their camp.
Okay. Did you plan on finding Biff right away, or broaching the subject with the Gilnead later?
Probably once they were loaded and rolling.
Okay. So you gather your things and you begin to pick up and load up. Where do you store your cauldron in the meantime?
The cauldron I just kind of allow to walk with me.
Okay.
Usually
so
it's piloted by Pedal.
You excellent, excellent. So you pack up your things. You command your cauldron to get small and walk beside you. Pedal just morphs into the container because cats are liquid and bobbles back and forth. They're kind of like a chicken in that their head stays in the same position while the rest of their body moves. Stratus finds himself walking beside you, the wide brim of his hat providing shade beneath his feet. Wow. Jackson and Frederick kind of flank you a few paces behind you.
This is how I roll.
This is how you roll. The grass is damp, freshly dampened, and the scent of rain is thick in the air as I presume everyone begins to move with the caravan.
Indeed.
And once they're moving, they're moving.
As they're moving, they're moving. Things that move tend to want to stay moving. Okay, Roar, I presume you would put the boat into neutral and ride beside the caravan.
I mean, I could, unless people were like, I thought people were more eager to get ahead to the ziggurat. So I would have suggested, hey, are we just deliberately going slow so that people get too close to the ziggurat, or are we gonna take on the ziggurat ourselves really quick?
So Roar meets with the group and presents that question.
This one is eager to examine the ziggurat, but this one is willing to approach with the others.
I shrug. I thought the whole point was to make the way safe. If there's more undead around the ziggurat, wouldn't it make more sense if we got there first and cleared the undead?
Biff would go as a vanguard if needed. Does not mind going fight more undead.
Speaking of Biff, could I borrow you for a moment?
Borrow Biff, whatever for. Uh, Biff saying that while shrugging and approaching Vanya.
You kind of pull Biff away from the group.
Yep, don't want to interfere with the voting. They'll talk on the side.
Sure. So, some of you around the door begin to pledge yourselves to go ahead to the ziggurat. Alina, I believe you had planned to stay behind and defend the caravan in case things get great. Sure thing. Sure thing. Um, Bones. Bones, while you see the party is deliberating and various party members are weighing what they want to do, whether or not they want to stay and be bulwark or head off and be the vanguard. You take note of a third group currently deep in conversation. You see Nurix's Tauren is not at the head of the moving caravan, but is actually toward the back, and there appear to be a number of rangers, two rangers nearby, who are. Can you read lips? Okay. So maybe you're not reading lips, but you can definitely read mannerisms and posture. And with these two rangers, you do see that there is some kind of not conflict, but there is something that is trying to be conveyed to Norexus. There is a deliberation happening. Um, you you clock that and you break off from the group to do that. So I'll come back to you. Let's move over to not Verdi, to Vanya and Biff for about a moment. As Vanya, you're going to try to sell him on this. I'd like to see how this plays out live.
So, Biff, I was hoping you could do me a favor.
Okay. Roll the
No.
unit moved.
I'll retrieve a little flask of greenish liquid that has a faint yellow glow about it. So then me and some of the others investigated the site of Zilius's fall before you all returned to the city. I was able to gather some wild mushrooms that were touched with fey magic. After speaking with Edith, I was able to distill a little bit of the fey magic into a drinkable form. Edith assures me that it is best used to when someone is in need of um uh, muttering in Gilnean, a pick-me-up, or in a desperate situation. So I assume that would mean combat of some sort. I don't know exactly what it does, but it's supposed to be very interesting. Would you be willing to test it?
Biff would have lifted a brow at the mention of Edith, but he remembers instantly how he kind of mentioned offhandedly to Wisp that something about like giving Edith a chance and this and that. So he slowly takes the vial and looks it over as if he could divine its secrets by checking different angles. And you have no idea what this will do, correct? Will it hurt?
No, I don't think so. Not you, at least. Probably.
Mm, Biff um, takes the stopper. Maybiff takes a whiff of it, tries to see what it smells like.
Just don't drink it now. I think it would be better to get an accurate test in the field, so to speak.
Biff, as you uncork it and you take a whiff, you can hear the sound of effervescent bubbling. There's a faint mint scent and a grassiness to it. It smells faintly sweet.
To be fair, I would normally try such things in very controlled situations, but I only have so many of these fey mushrooms to try out, and I kind of want to make sure that it acts as intended. And if you find a skeleton, an evil skeleton in the woods or something, or a zombie, or a jaggy or something, maybe when you go to punch it, first you drink it and see what happens.
Biff's eyes narrow. Biff is highly suspect of that way of thinking. Would think that you would want to test this indeed in controlled area where perhaps you could heal Biff if Biff, uh, who knows,
Oh, I
started
would I
breathing
would assume you
fire.
would be with someone else who might be able to watch your back in case something happens. But I really don't think something bad is going to happen.
Okay, Biff will do this for you.
You are doing the field of alchemical science a great service, sir.
Biff warn you, if this hurts, Biff will punch you.
Um, mm, Perhaps we can arrange something other than a punch.
He pats her on the head and stows the bottle, noting to keep it away from the rest of his pilfered bottles.
Okay. The potion for the potion throne. So, Vanya, you managed to sell Biff on testing your experimental potions. You have a guinea pig.
I have a partner in the alchemical sciences.
Sure. You can spin it that way. Um, so, as you are selling Biff on this bones, you manage to make your way toward Nerixus and the pair of scouts who were with him. As you get closer, you hear the phrase from a blonde-haired gentleman dressed in um, ranger's armor, black dragon emblem, small cape on their back, rather a hooded cowl on their back, not a cape, crossbow and such. And you hear the phrase, about 5 miles southwest, it's right in front of us. We'll be able to move past it, but they're going to get spooked. And Nurixus kind of thumbs underneath his snout as his blue eyes come to squint slowly. And he notices your approach, glancing in your direction. He nods toward you. Bones. Welcome. Allow me a moment to borrow your ear. It seems we have not a situation yet, but I'd like your take on it. He gestures toward the two rangers. According to Bartholomew here, there have been spots of ghouls to the northwest. You are no doubt aware of how problematic ghouls can be. I don't believe they are planning to box us in, but they are unpredictable. He gestures toward the other ranger. Adam has made note of a herd you mentioned? Yes, it's a herd. Ankylosaurus, Miss Darkmoon. Undead, all of them. They don't pose much of a threat to us, but I've seen what happens to the creatures, the beasts of burden. If they catch whiff of them, they will stall unless they're babysat, prodded to move. We're rangers, but not all of us are trained in beast mastery. This could pose a bit of a problem. And Nurxus turns back toward you. It has been floated the idea that we ford the river. It will cost us a day to get across. It would prove to be safer, but it would be time-consuming, and there would be risk. The crafts are not meant to cross the river. Alternatively, we could push faster today and through the evening. Camp Righteous is not far from here. If we take shifts, we could avoid making any sight of the ghouls. But there is the herd to be wary of. Nurxus nods in your direction. Precisely why I pulled you into the fold. We will continue to deliberate. He nods, dismissing you. You're also, just gonna throw something out there. You're also aware that Mbanje has a way with animals. And magic.
So should this one start loading the ship then? This one cannot promise an answer, but this one will try.
Mbanje meekly lifts a finger. I can turn into an animal, so like maybe I can help with that. And I don't know about getting ships over the water. They're not meant to be over, which in itself sounds kind of weird to be honest. But I can get people over.
Can the threats be dealt with?
Bones, your take upon what was mentioned is that the undead that are northwest, this wouldn't be brought up if it was a small group. If it was something that could just be dispatched. Mm.
Oh, Bosmoy ghouls? Those are not good.
At that mention, I'm going to point out Verdi. You've seen and are familiar with roving undead animals. Ankylosaurs, When passive, they are non problematic. They tend to forget that they're dead and they continue to graze. But if they are riled up, they are a force to be reckoned with. I think Verdi would have experience with that much. Alina, likewise, would be aware of that fact, having done a little bit of work in this area.
Undead ankylosaurs.
It would be best to get out as quickly as we can. Even if we ford the river, it'll be better that way, even if it does take some time.
So, just to pull back and lift the veil a little bit.
Are those two different
Uh,
things?
Yeah.
So Roar's gonna actually say
Okay.
out loud, "I have a way that I can move things across the river as long as they are less than 500 pounds. I can move them."
Right.
Also,
So,
I'm not sure where Leah is, but Leah will point out that Khalid had a way of repelling undead using positivity.
yeah, sure. Yeah, just figured I'd give you guys a good moment to bring everything to the table. So, to lift the veil a little bit, this is a two-pronged approach. One, you guys can make a choice right now. You can, if you choose to ford the river, as it is, without magical intervention, it will add 1 day of travel to the caravan's movement. However, you guys foraged 2 episodes ago and got more rations for these people. So that is an option that is viable as of right now. You have done the prep work without realizing it. You could use magical power to expedite the process and make it half a day's work. There are options at this point to split the party. Some of you stay behind and work on this effort, while others move to the ziggurat to potentially attract undead to it.
Ooh.
So there are 3 options because you guys. The third option is a viable option. It was a non-option if you guys had not done all the foraging you did. So you can ford the river, spend more time on the road, or they will spend more time on the road. You can choose to move quicker, or you can have the caravan choose to move quicker and take shifts. But you will have to leave heroic people behind to help with the defense effort. But approaching the ziggurat does remain a priority for multiple reasons. So I am going to take a pause and allow you guys to deliberate out of character for what you would like to do. Please note that those of you who do not approach the ziggurat, you will not be locking yourselves out of character development or story. This is really just a way for me to have you not raffle stomp my next dungeon. Be right back.
I like the idea of going to the ziggurat and drawing the undead there and giving the caravan time to ford as needed.
Um, you probably don't have to ford because Mbanje can move water. Let me check. Or he can like
If
help
it's
with the movement.
the Yeah, if it's the thing I think it is, which is the cantrip, it's only 5 feet, 5 cubic feet of water at a time.
It's not a
So if
cantrip.
the Shoshin Star has gotten that, oh, then you've got it's not shape water. Then it's going to be the other one that's more expensive.
I have control water.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot more expensive.
Well, if
Hey,
he's with the with the traveling group, it doesn't matter. He can just help do his thing.
I think that's a good idea. Vanya would probably want to stay behind and help with the group as well, since she's not sure if she wants to drop herself in the middle of hordes of undead. She's not quite ready for that adventure.
She's not ready for that.
Your relationship's not quite at that level. Okay, so I think there's a tentative plan for Mbanje to pull some bullshit. And fording the river seems to be at least the choice for some of the caravan. That said, the caravan will still need defenders, so if you guys would like to make a team,
Oh, Vanya's definitely staying behind.
we got Bones. Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Wisp would stay behind, and Verdi would go to the ziggurat.
Okay. Let me just jot that down real quick. Hold on. So for Ziggurat, we got Verdi, we got Bones, we got Karn,
Hell yeah.
we've got Roar,
Biff will go. Ziggurat.
I'm
we got
going
Biff. Alicia, where do Leah and Incognitus fall on this?
Leo would probably go to the ziggurat, and Incognitus would stay with the caravan.
A team and B team.
Yeah.
Okay. Caravan, we've got Alina, Vanya.
Together again for the reunion tour.
Hildy got replaced by a cat.
Seems about right.
Vanya, Alina, Mbanje, Incognitus, and Wisp. Okay. So you guys put your heads together and you prepare to form a plan. Caravan still in motion. Bones, I presume you bring that information to Norexus and assure him that there's an Arcanist of some merit. You can vouch for him. You mention that it's Mbanje, and he's like, oh, that guy. Very well. And he tentatively agrees to this idea. So, Karn, you begin to load the boat and prepare to, Roar, you prepare to shove off. You guys can break away. I know there are some of you who would like to say goodbye to one another. Vanya and Verdi, for instance. And Biff and Arank have something really special going on, too. As you make your plans to break off, you can also, let's see, Lena, you vouched for Gallium to come along to Ziggurat. Strongly recommend. Possibly insisting. Let me see. God is cool as shit.
So remember the tincture and remember the lotion, and you will be okay, yes?
This is not my first rodeo. I should be fine.
But it is a horde of undead. Or at least there should be a lot of I don't know what to expect.
She leans in and gives him a quick kiss on the cheek.
Take care. Be
Well,
safe.
That just makes him blush.
Okay. So you hand off some items to Verdi, you give him a kiss on the cheek. Verdi blushes a whole bunch and does the Verdi thing. It takes a short while, but you do manage to summon Gallium to join you at the boat. They seem eager to. Sam, are you talking? Uh-oh.
No, sorry, I was
Okay,
just
cool.
accidentally pushing things.
No worries. I thought your mic might have died on you. So you get a hold of Gallium. He joins you guys on the boat as you begin to head off or prepare to head off in the direction. Bones. From Nurix's, you do learn that they do plan to continue moving on foot at least until midday to put some distance between themselves and these the undead bands, the ghouls that are to the northeast. They would rather not try fording the river while there is potential for something to break out of the tree line. Exactly. So they're going to push for a little bit and then using Banjay's help to get across. About half of the day will be spent using magic to get across. So they're going to make some progress. So let me move you guys a little bit and move the time a little bit. Do you guys break off immediately?
I don't see why not.
Okay. So it takes some time to get the boat loaded, and it takes some time to collaborate, meet up, and talk, and make your plans. At about noon, blackguards make their way off into the jungle using their folding boat. A little while later, the remaining team will begin the process of fording the river. Let's see. I would like Verdi and Vanya to roll a d20, no modifiers, and tell me what you roll.
8.
Oh, my real dice is packed away.
It's D&D night! What are you doing? Or you can use the fake die on the left side of the screen. 12. Okay, so we are going to follow Vanya's team briefly. At around noon, the caravan makes their way from the tree line and toward the Sochin Star River. The river is moving a little bit faster than before, considering the recent rainstorm. You come toward the water's edge as wagons begin to find their wheels sticking a little bit into muddy but softer earth. A few of the ankylosaurs in the back grunt and thrash in protest. There seems to be some reticence when it comes to approaching the river's edge.
Oh, those poor creatures.
Can Banjay try to calm him down?
Certainly can.
Uh,
You can roll an animal handling check. There are a number of them, so give me 3 animal handling checks. You are a furbolg, so you roll these at advantage. Unless you have magical means to somehow subdue them.
I likely do. I just switched my spells and I don't have them. I have speak with animals. So no. Alright, let's go. +3. First one is a dirty 20.
Downright filthy.
Second one is 18. Last one is 17.
Okay. So over the course of 10, 15 minutes, you go through the herd of these trained beasts of burden, these low to the ground, shell-backed dinosaurs, some of them pulling carts, some of them pulling their own weight, and you go about the task of mollifying and reassuring them. And you have a way with animals. By the time you're finished, these creatures are standing a little straighter. wagging their club-like tails about and following you with their eyes. Not transfixed, but clearly curious about you in your strange way. You do feel that you have earned their trust. Whether or not you can hold their trust in the face of danger, you don't know. But you think you've made an impression, and they do begin to better obey their commands. You find yourself looking across the River Ocean Star. You found a narrow portion, um, about 40 feet across, maybe 20 feet at its deepest. Um, Mostly clear water. There's some muddiness toward the center where the silt has been kicked around and knocked about. As you watch the river surface, you do see some movement. Small breaks in the water's surface of small fish. You've been living here for a while. Alina, likewise, keen-eyed and aware of what lurks in the water. You see that there are quippers in the water. Tiny, carnivorous fish. They are akin to piranhas, but a little meaner. So long as nothing bleeds in the water, you should be fine. So long as nothing lands in the water, you should be fine.
Well,
There are so many fish in the water. What? What?
how do they taste?
Yeah, you don't wanna swim in that. No, not at all.
Why are we floating here?
Wisp just shrugs.
How far away is the other shore?
I I said 40 feet across.
40 feet across? Okay.
I love dumb ideas. You would say it is a swarm of quippers, yes. You'd like to attempt to cast a spell? I. You can certainly try if you'd like.
And I'm going to remind that Mbanje has something specifically for this.
So, Mbanje, what do you have specifically for this?
Control water, in which he can cause the water in an area to move apart and create a trench.
Oh!
He gonna be Moses.
Oh! That's. Okay, that's fucking cool. So,
These things can devour a man in 3 minutes. And what are you going to do about it? I'm going to tell them to eat me. What?
I'm going to taunt them from the bank.
How
This
long
is
does
not
this-
a plan, this is a death wish.
how long does this spell last, Mbanje?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, so you look about the caravan and you look about the water, and you can do a lot in 10 minutes. But these are a lot of carts, and they move slow. What level spell is this?
4th.
How many times can you cast it?
Once.
Oh no.
Well,
How strongly does Mbanje feel that he must do this?
not strongly that he must, but he has it. If they can talk
The-
to the beasts, he can talk to the beasts and tell them that it's going to be rough going for 10 minutes. But after that, it'll be they can take a nice rest. They need to get away from these animals in the water that want to do them harm.
Okay. Give me one moment because I think I just remembered.
I might have something to add on top of this.
Wisp, I would like to remind you of your class ability, Spirit Session. Tanya, what would you like to add to this?
The swarm of quippers, are they all kind of gathered together?
They're spread out.
Well, how spread out are they? Actually, you know what? Vanya has a legitimate idea.
Do we have some raw meat that we could toss in there to gain their attention?
Raw meat.
Not you.
Oh wait, Biff Imbaji can actually do this twice because he has 5th level spells.
Shit. So you can cast once.
So, I believe I posted it for everyone to read. Spirit session. I would need the spell you choose must be of a level equal to the number of creatures that conducted the ritual.
Oh, wow.
So-
that's interesting.
Wisp, you float this idea of a spiritual ritual. A means to
It
help
takes an hour.
Mbanja get this task done by calling upon the forbidden knowledge of the dead to cast the same spell. Potentially giving you not 10 minutes, together, a half hour to move the caravan, which is a damn good amount of time.
If you give me an hour, I can give you a half hour.
That sounds good to me.
All right, so multiple ideas are being floated. There's someone talking about meat, there's someone trying to be a martyr, and there's spooky spiritual skeletons. At the end of the day, it's your choice.
Vanya,
Alina, I know you want to help out, so go and find me like a thick piece of meat.
squint at her. I
That's
wag
not
my
on my
finger at
thing.
her.
Okay.
Vanya's
Alina,
not
you-
actually going to do anything until this hour is completed, but she definitely wants to do something before they start parting the Red Sea.
Alina, you begin to search. You're going to break away from the group for the hour while this ritual happens. I'd like you to roll me a streetwise check. This is going to be a charisma-based check with your proficiency. Let's see. Do you guys agree to perform this session with Wisp? There's a 4th level spell, so he needs 4 willing participants. Volunteers.
4 willing souls.
What?
I'm not taking your soul, but I need one that's alive and that is willing.
Does my Jackie count?
That thing is not willing to do anything.
Okay. You guys could spend 2 hours to prepare it, or you could use the memories to try to speed things along. That's fine too. I'll say that by. Okay. 24. You can go
Just-
ahead and roll your lifetime die.
So the real threat here is really just the Quippers and making sure that they don't bother us while we're crossing, right?
As far as you can tell.
Plus, if we move the water, it'll make it faster to go across than fording.
I mean, like, have you never played what you call it?
Oregon
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 Trail.
Trail?
Yes.
Yeah.
Six ends in
You
don't-
dysentery.
we don't play with the rivers.
No,
I'm
we do not.
stoked. I'm stoked because fording the river comes with all kinds of complications. There was a dice table to have wagons break down. There's a dice table to see who gets throat leeches. There was a dice table to see how long it took. It was going to take you the whole damn day. 29 in total. So you managed to. What are you trading? What are you giving up for this? To get meat. This mini game.
She picks up a really shiny, pretty rock.
Sure. You know what? That's actually pretty fucking useful. Most of these people are human. You trade out 5 of your torches. That ends up giving you a flask of anti-venom. You trade that to the people in the healer's booth, who end up giving you 2 potions of healing. You end up trading that to one of the local butchers who is donating and spreading their name through this process. Quite a large amount of preserved meat. And you managed to bring back to your party in about a half hour a very large and heavy rack of large ribs. They look like perhaps brontosaurus ribs. Very big. Yeah. From behind, it kind of looks like you're wearing those World of Warcraft pauldrons because it's just silhouetting you in that way. But you do have this large hunk of meat. It's wrapped up in cheesecloth, which has thoroughly been stained with bones poking out the sides. Wisp, the scent of blood, and that funk of dried meat is, well, at the same time repulsive as it is mouth-watering. Aged meat tends to be like that.
All right, that will do.
Oh, do we still need that if we're doing what Wisp wants?
I mean, if we don't, we can eat it.
This is to help once we get done with the ritual.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So, with meat in hand and with 4 willing contestants, Wisp, you set Theodore onto the ground before you.
This is Theodore. And Alina will see a wonderfully decorated black mark skull with, with no jawbone placed on the ground. And set into its eyes are 2, or on each eye is orange cut polished stones.
That is a very well kept skull.
Oh yes, he's been around for quite some time. But this is Theodore. Theodore, this is, I don't know your name. He points at Vanya, or your name. He points at Alina, but you, no, I don't know you either. Anyway, I'm Wisp. Wisp of Smoke. Don't call me of. I will not answer.
I am Vanya. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Vanya.
I'm in Banjay.
Mbanje. Alina. Wonderful. All right, let's start.
So, you all take a spot on the ground beside this polished and lacquered humanoid skull. It is carved with intricate zigzag patterns, artfully designed, with these 2 faceted, transparent orange gemstones faceted into the eyes. Wisp, you reach out for your new companions. I mean, you make friends easy. Hands, and you close your eyes and you begin to listen for the sounds, the voices, the whispers. Time passes, and at first, those of you who are sitting nearby, listening to Wisp kind of quietly talk to himself, start to begin to think that this is perhaps a snake oil situation.
Oh, nice. Things always go this way.
Until the sound of whispers touch your ears. One by one, you begin to hear the sounds of not the people around you, but of distant echoes of phrases and words. Some of them repeating patterns, repeating phrases. Cellar door, east wing, northwest. Some of them limericks. They chase, and then they stomp until it all turns red. and some of you hear doctrines of old. The light of the moon guide you. And such, so forth and so on. Wisp, these phrases and words coalesce and begin to make sense in your mind. At the turn of the hour, you awaken back to the world with a new insight. Someone or something imparts upon you the secrets of this druidic spell. You can temporarily add control water to your spellbook. Thus armed with magic, you find yourselves still looking out the River Ocean Star. The Quippers are still active, present, and accounted for. Caravan has completely collected itself beside you on the river as they look out to see what this group of ragtag heroes has planned for them. And Banji, you do see that Nurixis is watching you from a distance. He sees that the huddle has broken and he comes to approach. Mr. Ambermoss, is there anything that we must do on our end to facilitate your whatever it is you plan to do?
And Manje shakes his head. No, just keep everything moving. And don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the water. Straight line. It'll be all right.
I appreciate your candor. And he calls out to the caravan and commands them to form a line. The line begins to form behind you, Mbanje, as you look out onto the river. And prepare to do your stuff.
All right, we ready for this? No, I'm taking care of that right now.
I am ready. Whenever you are.
And Banja actually looks at Vanya, wondering what the hell's going on with that meat.
All right. Elena, can you hurl this into the river for me?
Athletics check. $16. You can buff that. Crit. Oh. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So you call upon this memory of strength, and you find yourself in the shoes of this just adrenaline-fueled, very angry person. Someone filled with righteous fury and indignation. And as you spin about in a circle, using the leverage of your tiny body to swing this thing outward, you almost find yourself saying the words, "My aim be true." You release. As this giant rack of ribs lands squarely in the center of the river, about 40 feet downriver.
Oh, shit.
and you see the fish
Nope. That's
begin to splash and break the water's edge and swarm toward the direction of the meat.
I'm going to use Mage Hand to try and keep the meat from flowing too far downriver because I want it to gather the clippers.
Oh yeah, the quippers are all heading off in that direction. You see, just it breaks in the water surface as these little shadowy figures are just darting in that direction.
I do have electricity, but
I thought that was the point, because if I open the river, we kind of don't need the meat. We don't care where the fish go. I thought you were trying to bring them all together.
that is exactly what I was trying to do. And
As Vanya has one hand out using the Mage Hand to keep pulling it upriver so it doesn't go too far away together.
Yeah,
all together.
the meat doesn't go too far. It's off to. You guys are facing this river. It's off to your left.
Okay, okay. Breaking accent. What's the point of the what's the point of gathering the clippers if the river is going to get split and there's not going to be any fish to worry about?
Just in case.
Okay.
Vanya is all about safety.
You never know what the DM has planned.
You never know. So, Mbanje, do you cast your spell?
Mbaje casts. Everyone's
All right.
ready.
All right, Mbanje, you burn a spell slot and you call upon the river to obey your command. Thin seam splits in the water surface as the rushing waters come against this invisible barrier. It pulls up and begins to spill out onto the riverbank. The gap widens, as though dammed by some invisible force, as the shore beneath it, the river's bed, is exposed. You part the water, and Neurexus takes this as a signal and begins to marshal his forces forward. They begin to move. You stay at the river's edge at the bank as 2 by 2, these wagons begin to move forward. It carries on like this for 5, 10, 8 or 9 minutes. You feel the magic begin to wane and start to reach its end of the spell. You see only about a third of the caravan has passed.
All
I'm
right.
assuming you recast it.
Yep, we'll recast it.
With another recasting, the caravan continues to move. We've got about 2/3 through. At this point, it's less wagons and more people. People who are hustling, moving quicker and quicker, and the unyoked ankylosaurs move quite a bit slower. Let's see. Roll me a quick insight check as you continue to maintain your spell.
That is a 22.
22. You begin to realize that even with a third casting of the spell, it's going to be tight.
Well, technically, 4th level spells, Wisp can cast 3 of those.
Oh shit. All right.
So even with her with their ritual, they can
It's a 4th level spell. I have 3 4th level spell slots.
nice.
Very cool. So, Banjay, you tap out of spells after that, after the second casting, or do you have a third casting?
That's it for 4th and 5th.
All right. Wisp, you take over and summon the same form of magic. The river kind of shakes and shudders during the process, but you do manage to keep it parted. A number of rangers hustle through, a number of warriors start to jog and dart and move with haste. You see the gentleman that you had landed on the day before, Monty. He is marshaling and ushering people forward. Move, move, move! Come on! Getting people to hustle, leaving soon just you guys on this side of the bank, with about a minute to spare. Um, Wisp, you hold the bank, the parted river open.
I cast it one more time just so we don't need to rush.
Well, all right. You guys had the resources. We're not gonna risk too much today. And just like that, you find yourselves walking at a leisurely pace across the river's Ocean Star onto the other bank, knowing that you have a means to get back once you hit Camp Righteous.
Is there anything on the ocean, on the seafloor, worth picking up and taking?
Roll me an investigation check.
$18.
There is a bounty of river mussels. Edible food stuff if you want to break them open. You see a number of not humanoid skeletons, but various animal bones on the bottom of the river's bed. You see a lot of clay that could be harvested for crafting. A couple of water eroded and weather polished river stones. But no buried treasure. No shining glowing gems. Just nature's bounty.
He'll just pick up a couple of cool-looking rocks.
Yeah, a couple of cool rocks. You got a couple of cool river rocks to your item equipment bar. By this point, the meat in the river has been picked clean. The bones are getting hard to hold together with just one mage hand. You know, Vanya. Chileans, man.
So, do we want to feast on keepers or?
Why not?
Are quippers edible? Hey, let me look. Listen, anything's edible if you're brave enough.
I mean, what do the rangers in the caravan say?
So, quippers. They, depending on how well fed they are, they can be quite plump. They have a fatty kind of back. It's not like catfish fatty, but there is some plump meat to be had on them. The problem is that they tend to be kind of small. So stew, or roasted on a spit, a little thin spit.
All right, someone is going to need to gather them up. All right, here.
And I hand Alina the her pillowcase that she gave me ages ago, and I've just had in my pack ever since.
Oh, jeez. Full circle. We've gone full circle.
Wonderful.
All right, so before those quippers get too far, I am going to stand on the shore. That is. And I'm going to cast Witch Bolt.
Witch bolt. Yeah, quick description of witch bolt, please. So this is like chain lightning, right?
Basically, for the next minute, I can just channel from Quipper to Kipper, and
Oh, it lasts a minute. All right, yeah. All right, so attack and damage. Yeah, I don't think an attack is necessary to attack a creature with armor class of 13, with a hit point of 1. So you reach out, your fingertips kind of darkening. Oh, withering slightly as your nails grow a little longer and and your skin grows a little ashen.
Clench my jaw and just say, no. And I just
Lightning?
concentrate on the magic.
Lightning leaps from your fingertips and strikes the water's surface, causing it to immediately bubble, boil, and form mist. As this fine layer of mist rises from the surface of the water, so do many somewhat bloated fish bellies. There are a lot of dead fish. You've basically just fished with dynamite.
Yeah.
All right, in full plate. Oh no shit. All right, cool. Yeah, you can tread water easy if you're not wearing full armor. You get out there, you kind of swim out, and you get the ones that are closest to shore. A couple of them are kind of floating in the middle of the river. It's slow moving. It's easy to get them. But you manage to fill your sack up with a feast of little carnivorous fish.
Oh, this is fun. You are all fun.
Thank you.
Not allowed to cook. So let us move them over here now. Hooray! Progress made. So, as you guys collect your fish and you begin to move alongside the caravan, in Banja, you get a firm nod of solidarity from Eurixus. He actually bows his head to you in thanks. It is a wordless gesture, but you get the impression that you have done meaningful change on this day, along with your companion Wisp. As you guys begin to move and walk alongside the roving uh, wagons, walking alongside rangers and making your way toward, I would assume, the vanguard to make sure the way ahead is safe. Who has a passive perception?
Everyone, I hope. What's the? You just said passive perception.
Yeah,
That's all I heard.
who has a passive perception?
Wisp has a passive perception of 14.
13.
13,
12.
okay. 12, okay.
Okay.
It's a 10. It's a 10, y'all.
Unless I find something that says higher, I've got 16.
16? All right, Incognitus. Through your visor, despite, the thin field of view, you note in the distance.
Probably higher. I thought you meant we're looking for Leah's.
No, did I say Incognitus or Leah?
Just now you said Incognitus.
Incognitus. Leah's gone with this group, right?
Yeah, I think so. We're heading towards Ziggurat, right?
No, this group is going with the caravan.
Then
So this would be Incognitus in this case.
I need to open up the other sheet then.
Okay. Yeah, so Incognitus is passive perception. I'm going to double back onto the second group in just a moment.
So, 17.
17. That's even better.
Observant.
Observant. Good feat. So Incognitus, you notice as the others are chatting and going over their bounty of fish and patting each other on the back and planning to move and shake and do the things. You see, breaking the tree line and approaching the caravan are a number of short, bronze-scaled reptilians. They have short horns upon their head, large reptilian eyes. One of them is adorned with cloth of pink, with faintly pink, lambent eyes. You have heard about what happened over at the Mushroom Caves, and you clock that these are the Brassbone clan moving to intercept. one of them lifts a hand to hail those at the head of the caravan. You find that they are some distance away.
Sure. Point out that we have guests.
And Banjay groans. Oh, unfortunate that we couldn't have just like a chill day of walking through the water.
Alina has no chill. Zero chill.
Do these resemble the lizard folk that were part of the alliance that took Nyanzuru?
Negative.
Got it. Thank you.
Vanya,
The kobolds from the caves.
Oh, the kobolds. Never mind.
yeah, the Bronze Bone Clan.
Yeah, the Bronze Bone Clan. Come on.
You know,
Get
take
your
notes.
shit together.
Let's see. I think Alina, you were the only one that was part of this group that was no. Alina and Vanya were there.
Alina and Vanya.
Vanya was there too? Vanya was there. Okay,
Vanya
sorry.
was there and Alina was there.
Vanya and Alina were there. So you guys do recognize them.
Yeah, remember the Celestial Vanya yelled at?
Yeah. I
That
should have
was-
taken notes.
That was Anyway.
I should have taken notes.
Good choice.
Should have.
You do realize that they are the same ones as before, and there appear to be four of them. Three. Yes. If Alina will allow it. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you would have placed it onto a nice hay-lined cart, and would know that it is somewhere in the caravan, unless you have gone out of your way to reacquire it. Okay. To that same. That's fine. Oh, that's fine.
And sister's safe, right?
The sister, the beaded sister, she is likewise in the same cart, sitting upon a bale of hay.
Wonderful. I love it.
Just looking out as the world moves further away from view and more things move in. Moving backwards is an experience. That's what they're doing. Lena, if you so choose, you can pick it back up and carry it with you. It will nestle into your shoulder, into the crook of your neck if you allow it to do so. Absolutely. So you find that you are approached by four kobolds. One of them is the de facto leader, parent, the magician, sorcerer, warlock. We're not sure. Dusty. And as the kobolds approach, they're going to approach your group, seeing as you are the vanguard.
Dusty approaches and glances between Alina and Vanya because they're the most familiar.
Where can I find the dragon? Wonderful. Yay.
Arlena, you, with all the giddiness of the welcome wagon, you bring the diminutive gold-scaled or bronze-scaled kobold toward Nurixus, and he is inscrutable. He watches as you approach, and he glances at you, looks for some kind of tell in your face. He's going to roll an insight check to try to read you real quick. He bows his head with a gentle nod, kind of piecing together what's happening here. And he approaches to meet you in the middle, leaving his entourage to approach the vanguard, approach you, and approach this.
Vanya is tagging along just to bear witness.
Oh, well. I will take your word for it.
I see my reputation precedes me. Am I to assume that you are the diplomat of the Bronze Bone clan?
Yes, my name is Dusty, and I have brought news of where the King of Feathers may be located.
He tilts his head slowly. Generally speaking, when you come to a negotiation table, you would make a case before you offer leverage. I am very eager to hear what you know. As I understand it, your people have a number of problems. Perhaps we can remedy these and help each other.
Yes, that would be really nice.
He glances at you, Alina, and for the first time, you see Nerixus is having trouble keeping a straight face. Every time Dusty goes to speak, it causes it to be a little harder for him to keep his face straight. And he closes his eyes and bows his head. The faster you can kill him, yes.
I'm sure Verdi would appreciate it as well.
Um, Dusty, allow me to welcome you into the fold. I have a. He looks about rapid fire, and he looks rather unprepared for class until he spots Leonard Monty in the crowd. I had intended to assign her a bodyguard. And he nods slowly. He nods briskly. He calls after Leonard, who approaches, and, "Hey, boss, what are we doing? What's up? Oh, you're small. You're real small. Nori, is this a lizard folk? She is a kobold of the Bronze Bone clan and a diplomat. I would like you to keep her safe. Her clan seems to know information about the King of Feathers, perhaps the location of a nest." Oh, that's important stuff. Okay. He reaches out a hand to Dusty, not to shake. Well, call me Leonard. I am kind of the guy who shows people around and sometimes keeps them safe. So, how about I introduce you to the rest of the caravan? You can tell me about your stuff, and you can tell us about this nest you found.
Oh, that would be very nice. Yeah. I I I like that.
And she goes to shake his hand, but her hand is so small it just clasps his finger.
And he nods. All right. Well, bring your friends, and we'll see. Do you guys need something to eat? We got food. Let's get you guys something to eat.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Vanya's watching Monty very intently.
And Monty looks back to Alina and nods. Well, fortunately, I actually have campfire privileges this time. I probably wreck a cook pot, maybe some spices. I think someone's got a spice match somewhere. Why do you have a pillowcase? Hey, you know, if you don't have a net, make do. Can you eat electrocuted fish? Stefania and kind of like quirks a brow at the idea of electrocuted fish and shakes his head.
Intense stare continues.
He looks at you, and you see this moment of hesitation in his eyes. You believe you are intimidating him. You are fairly certain you have intimidated Monty, and even he's not sure why.
As I pick up on this, I put my hands on my hips, I straighten my shoulders, and give him the slightest of nods.
He's gonna roll an insight check.
Vanya, what the fuck are you doing?
So that couldn't have gone better if I wanted it to. Hopefully Lena can figure it out because Monty just rolled a 1.
Vanya just established dominance.
Vanya just established dominance. I think Vanya just established that she's staked a claim, and Monty has no idea what's going on. He's just spooked. So he rather quickly begins to usher Dusty away from this frightening woman. Hey, can I have like the whole bag of fish or just some of the fish? What's going on with the fish? You know what? You tell me how many fish I can have, and I'll cook them up when it's okay. And he looks to Vanya when it's okay to cook the fish. I can do that. Absolutely. We'll have a party.
Thank you, Monty.
You're welcome. All right. All right, boss. Am I good to go? You are good to go. All right. Thanks, boss. Thank you. Okay. Bye.
As Dusty, can I roll insight check? Because that was an awkward exchange between humans, and I don't know if that's what humans do or if
Yeah. Dusty's got a +2 to insight.
a +2. I'm gonna roll the fox dice for her.
Go for it.
That's an 18.
Mitch, what the fuck is going on? In terms of how a kobold would interpret it, I guess.
For some reason, Vanya has established dominance over this human male. She has staked a claim on territory that she does not understand. Above the board, Vanya wasn't trying to accomplish anything, but it was kind of like when you hook up with someone and you run into their ex where they have like some history, but they're on good terms, and you're just kind of, so you're the ex. Only incredibly silent and just intense staring.
That's so rude.
What the fuck, Vanya?
Fuck Vanya. God, I have some sociopaths in game, but this is the worst.
It has nothing against Monty. It was just like that moment of like, I'm going to screw with you.
Excellent. Perfect. Wonderful. I love it.
Oh,
love
wonderful.
It. So,
what has Verdi gotten into?
What is hey, you did this. It's on you, man.
I did this.
So, as you leave the diplomat to her bodyguard, and Nerixus nods the situation into the back of his mind, there are more things to worry about right now, and Monty's going to you guys continue to travel along with the wagons.
What? What was what? Well, I did not do anything. I said thank you. He's doing a good thing for us. It wasn't weird. Oh, but I'm not a dog person.
Oh.
No, not at all. Oh, I know. I've seen him around. I mean, I have nothing against him. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
Vanya just kind of shrugs a little.
Alina! Ah,
Ooh, leverage.
Ha ha ha!
you did just try to feed yourself to man-eating fish. Ah,
Oh god. Fine, you keep stonewalling Alina?
yeah, just very polite, very politely, but
Okay.
but honestly too, it very much boils down to like, no, he's fine, we're fine, there's nothing wrong, he's fine, everything's good.
Vanya is a charisma-based caster.
You are both charisma-based casters. Fighters. You both have amazing charisma and shit insight. It's just a game of lies. Bard, charisma-based. Oh god. Everyone has high charisma except for the halfling. We have the one straight man, and she's half the size of a man.
Verdi probably has less charisma.
I was gonna
Very
say that's why I'm high everything else because I'm condensed.
condensed anger. So this conversation goes back and forth until the hours stretch on. Vanya trying to play it down, Alina trying to probe deeper. Vanya really not sure, convincing herself that she doesn't know what happened. Perhaps the truth will be brought out with some liquid courage or liquid encouragement as the night goes on. Excellent. Go ahead and roll just a streetwise check, charisma plus proficiency, as you try to get a hold of some wine. Sell some humans some torches. Some of them have gotten wet during this whole ordeal. 18. That's going to be good enough to get yourself some very basic tej. But a lot of it. Full gallon of tej. Gallon of tej. Which is, it's as strong as wine. Pillowcase of fish, gallon of tej. Just girl things, just girl bossing. Okay, so as you go out, you search for things. I would like to close this thread and move back to the other side of the team. Is there anything anyone would like to resolve before I do that? There will be room for roleplay in the forums if you so like to do. Also, keep that in mind. You won't be missing out. We just might not do it live.
Oh, Dusty's gonna ask Monte so many questions.
That's basically why Dusty got pawned off to Monty, because he can answer many questions. Can he do it accurately? Probably not.
No, he's very bad at being accurate.
So, as we pull away from this party as the evening draws on, we're going to move back to around noon o'clock. As Roar, you begin to make the trek toward the ziggurat. Your boat currently in its position. You may move the boat to a hex of your choice as you carry on with about 4 hours of travel.
As I fight to get my thing working here, just a second.
I don't know if
Getting
you'll
my
go.
controller.
I don't know if you'll beeline to it, if you want to take a circuitous route.
No, I was just trying to get a thing out of the way. Yeah, I would make a beeline for it.
Straight to it. All right.
Okay, yeah, it's not letting me move. Can you just move it to that spot right there?
Yeah, sure. I thought I gave you permission for that. My bad. So, you proceed into the woods and begin to find paths in the tree line. With Verdi nearby and Karn, on point, you manage to find areas that you can wedge the boat through. But the trees do grow thicker over time, and the speed that you move at, you are forced to slow down a little bit, not moving quite as fast as you'd like. Um, let's see. As you guys travel, I would like to know your positions on the boat.
I am at the helm.
You're at the helm.
This would be up front.
Oh,
This is Biff.
What did I say?
Biff. Did you
Oh,
say
just
Biff?
I said Biff.
okay. Just making sure. You were kind of quiet, so I'm adjusting your volume.
Okay.
Yeah, your mic is.
Oh, my
There you
mic was
go.
down. Sorry.
Oh, why'd I turn you? Why'd I turn you up? Oh God!
God
It,
damn
it,
it.
it keeps
Mistakes
happening.
were made.
Mistakes were made.
Karn would be hanging out at the prow, peering out ahead and down.
The brow, excellent. The brow? The prow, excellent.
Verdi would probably be with Karn.
Still not quite used to it. Hmm. Give me one moment, guys. Okay. Can I get a quick round of passive perception scores?
Gross.
27.
What? Okay.
27.
Impossible.
27.
17.
I have 18. How 27?
How does 27 happen?
Well, I have a plus 12 in perception.
Do you have the observant feat?
I do.
So that's plus 12, and then that's plus 5 on top of that, and then it's a flat 10. So yeah, you have a plus 17 to your pat. Yeah, that's 27.
What?
Yeah, I only have a 12, but that's okay.
Verdi
That's-
sees everything.
That's what
and
happens if you do
hears everything.
expertise plus observant.
Expertise.
just-
Nah.
That's ridiculous.
He just chooses not to acknowledge some things.
Jesus Christ. So you have a 27. Roar has a 16. Karn has
Say Leah has.
He has Roar has a 12.
12. Okay. Oh no!
I'm double checking something.
I think Karn has
Karn
a
has
feat.
23.
23 sounds actually correct for Karn.
Yeah. Karn has observant. He just doesn't
Yeah,
have
observant.
expertise.
Okay. I'll have to fix that. It probably just isn't ticked off. So, surprisingly, Karn and 19? 19. Karn and Verdi, you're kind of like toward the front of the boat at the same time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, that was a question. Okay. So, as the boat is moving at a very steady pitch, it's still
Sam has
cruising.
his hand raised.
Let me fix that. Can I unraise your hand? Geez. How do I?
Yeah, that was an accident when I was trying to get my trying to get the movement done. I don't know how you. I think you just click on it to say that I was reached. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a button you can press to unraise your hand. We'll figure it out later.
It's gone on my end.
It's gone on your end? Okay, cool. Excellent. So, you guys are still cruising at a pretty fast pace. It's not the highest speed that the ship's capable of, but you're still moving fast. Whether a combination of the lowered speed or the fact that you two are extremely keen-eyed, you both are watching the woods for signs of movement, for signs of undead, for signs of any kind of adversary, possessed apes, perhaps, bored yacht apes, perhaps.
Fucking yacht.
Karn, you spot in one of the trees an unnatural mark in the bark. It looks to be a scratch mark, a claw mark. No, it's too straight on one end, it's too curved on another. There's a marking on that tree. Verdi, with your 27, Not only do you see markings on this tree, but several hundred paces away, you see an identical marking. And from the angle, you see a faint red glimmer inside of the carving. The boat is rapidly approaching, and you identify some kind of rune in these trees. What do you do?
I am running to go tell Roar to slow the fuck down.
What did the Verde? Oh, the Verde is gone.
I will slow. Confused, I will start slowing down. Oh, what am I slowing down for? What's ahead?
There's something on the trees. There's runes. I don't know what it means.
So, quick clarification: you just slow the ship.
No, I started to slow the ship, but because that's what what he told me to do in the first place. But now, like the second that I get told that there are runes, I yell all stop and I slam it to reverse to stop the forward
Okay,
momentum
yeah.
and get a full stop on.
Oh,
You switch
no.
into reverse, and the boat begins to twist as the back end continues to move, but the front end locks down, and you through the air as the boat.
Prow.
Yeah, wisdom save. Karn, what are you doing?
Karn's gonna get thrown off
You
the
tell
fucking
me.
boat.
I'm in the prow of the ship when it hits
You're
a
in the prow
full
of the-
stop.
You hang on. Give me a strength saving throw.
I did yell all
Ah!
stop, so I think everyone should
Add
have at least some
advantage.
advantage.
Add advantage. Bones is rightfully terrified. Bones, you are fucking spooked. Excellent. Karn, you hold on to the boat as your center of gravity is twisted and turned. If you had a stomach, you'd be barfing. Those of you in the back, the movement is wide enough that you can hang on without being jostled and thrown off. It seems the early warning has saved you all from being thrown off the boat. The boat comes to a stop as it sort of drifts horizontally for a brief few moments before the sound of gaseous decompression signifies that the boat has come to a complete stop. Bones, it feels like the world is still moving around you.
Okay, what the hell just happened?
Verity said that there was a rune. Runes on trees is, I don't know. I feel like that would be a trap.
A trap or
And-
something. Yes, I'm sorry, but
Biff's
There are some runes that remove magical effects, and I would much rather safely stop than crash hard and lose this precious device.
Okay. As you point that out, Verdi, your spatial awareness, you realize that you are maybe 10, 15 feet away from the nearest tree that bore that mark.
I am gonna point it out if I find one.
Yeah, you point it out.
Because
Or you
Verdi doesn't know runes, but he can't read it. But maybe Roar could.
Or you come out of the helm and you take a look, you kind of cup your hand to your brow, and you do see the marking on one tree. You search the tree line, and with Verdi pointing it out, you find the second rune, and then a third, a fourth deeper into the forest. They are each similar from the last, slightly altered one by one. With your passive arcana, you realize that this type of arrangement it's a network of something. You would have to get closer to identify just what it does. What languages does Roar speak?
Roar, by default, speaks Celestial, Common, Infernal, Sylvan, and Dwarvish currently.
You recognize Infernal when you see it.
Oh. I will.
It's infernal.
I will hop down and
Infernal?
go to
Okay.
read.
Verdi, once you get a closer look, you do recognize, as Roar points out, that is indeed Infernal. It is not linguistic Infernal, but it is runic that uses the Infernal alphabet. Roar, you hop off the ship and investigate.
Yeah, I will hop off the ship and get closer to determine what that rune is for.
Excellent. So, as you approach and you get close, you feel a tingling sensation in all of your joints. You feel a sense of dread. Nothing outward happens to you as you approach this room. You get a good look at it. How would Roar like to discern or divine the purpose of this mark?
I'd like to take out my tinker's tools and measure around it, trying to determine uh, like if it's more than just the runes, if there's some sort of arcane pathing beneath it
You're
to
you're,
chart
look,
thing.
you're looking for like modern
Set
day
fires.
arcana or
Yeah,
mechanical aspects to it.
yeah. I'm trying to discern whether this is really really old shit or moderately new things
Okay.
that are currently in the
Okay.
way.
So you kind of get into the feet of someone who would be using a tree as an arcane relay, and you use your tinker's tools to try to suss out what you would do. I would like you to make an arcana check with advantage. That's a crit. That's a crit.
Woo, one in the
One
pool.
in the pool.
That's a good crit. There's two in the pool. I think someone crit earlier.
Did someone crit earlier?
I don't think so.
I know I crit failed.
Oh yeah, you crit failed. There is one in the pool with an arcana check. You determine that the mark has been repeatedly etched. It is upkept. It is not weathered. It may be old by some of the marks nearby, but it is maintained. Something or someone occasionally comes out and ensures that the bark does not heal over the rune. With a nat 20, you identify this warding magic, and you start to suss out, based on the other symbols nearby, that this is a form of forbiddance. Teleportation of any kind would be impossible here, as well as any kind of planar travel. Just high level teleportation, but such simple spells such as Misty Step or similar would not be possible here within the area that this encompasses. Certain magical effects would also be nullified. Certain transmutation and evocation magics, such as message or sending, will either be stopped or entirely interfered with, to the extent you do not know what it may have on magic items. You can suss out that your folding moat, if you had not spotted this, would be nose down in the ground in a crater. The magic turned off. You all could have had a terrible tumble from this.
I look at that seriously and look at the ones further on. Well, Verdi, you did save us. These runes are being upkept and they're anti a lot of magic. If well, I can't teleport, but no one could teleport within these runes, nor could many things work. There's a lot of effects, and it's hard to track them all. And DM, do I feel like if I slash the runes to break them up, that it will actually remove the magic, or does it seem like it's
You think it would
require more?
weaken the magic if you can break the symbol itself, and as you understand it, there's magic flowing through this symbol. Breaking it may cause something to happen negatively to you or the area, but you would weaken this arcane relay. One tree talks to the other tree, talks to the other tree, and it amplifies the effect. As you search the woods, you see that there are many of these. You could take a while and painstakingly disable them all, but you don't know how deep they go. It would be a time investment, possibly one that comes with risk of limb or life
Yeah.
if you care about that thing.
So, if I have so being an artificer, do I know if I have the boat put away and everything closed up? Would it still be fine, or would it be as
Yes.
long as I didn't try opening it within the field, or will
With-
taking it into the field at all break it?
With that critical success, you realize that the magic would be not nullified, it would be suppressed. It would be suppressed. So whatever form it comes in, it will stay in that form. If your boat was currently careening into it, it would be just a regular ass boat going at full steam with no water beneath it. It would be devastating to the ship. It'd still be a ship afterwards. If you fold the boat, bring it in, it will still be a folded boat until you brought it out.
Okay. Then I will look around everyone. Okay, we're on our feet from here.
Yeah, you don't look too good.
Just boats. Why did it have to be boats?
Though, with the way these trees are set up, I believe we could just follow these all the way to the buried ziggurat.
Well, if it is Jeb, perhaps Biff can just smash the mark, disable it. Is that not how things like this go?
It can, um, but this is it. They're acting in a relay, and they have a good amount of power. Uh, if you're lucky, you can do it and not get hurt. But that also comes with the possibility of how would you say, blowback.
Biff thinks a bit, shrugs. Biff is willing to give one a try.
If wants to try to disable one of them?
Yeah.
I make sure that I get to the boat and move it back.
Yeah, he definitely like instructs
Yeah.
people to move back.
Okay. Roar, you explain essentially, I'm going to pull back the veil a little bit, that each of these trees is like a node in a web. And if you were to disable one of the trees, there would be a pocket where the effect is lessened. If you would clear enough trees, you could potentially create a pocket where it doesn't have any effect. But as far as you can tell, there are more of these rooms than you can count out there. You don't know how far this goes, but you do know it goes deep into the woods. Knowing this, Biff, you still attempt to do so. Just to see what happens, because you're a fucking adventurer. You're going to experiment, find out. Fuck around,
Yeah.
find out. That's the game. You move the boat out of the way. Roar, do you collapse the boat before Biff experiments? Just kind of watch on from a distance.
Yeah, no, I make sure that everyone's off the boat. I get my portable hull taken down, and I collapse the boat into its proper box.
Excellent. You collapse the portable boat into its box. You put it in your bag.
One
you
more
sling the-
question, DM.
Yes.
So these runes are just kind of like, you mentioned they were carved on the tree, and it looks like some care was taken to keep carving them in whenever the trees started to grow over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Karn gonna make the tree grow over it?
Let's certainly try.
I'm just wondering how far I can stretch Druidcraft.
Oh, buddy. Mm-mm. Not this time. You can try. You can try, but I don't want to set you up for
Disappointment.
expectations. Karn, you look at it and you think maybe I could do this, but it's going to take a lot out of me. We'll leave it there. Biff, how would you like to try and disable this arcane symbol?
All right. First, Biff is going to take his potion of heroism. Because if there's some kind of blowback, he wants to be full of blood.
Okay, that's what, 10 HP?
10 temp HP.
Okay, cool. So you down this potion as a bonus action, because it's a potion, and you feel warmth and vigor fill your chest, shoulders, and muscles. You feel hot. You feel ready. You want to hurt.
So I want to get rid of that. Okay. All right. Do a little dance to warm himself up. Excuse me. Rear back. Back in a monastery and all, he's kicking rocks, kicking trees to toughen the body up. So he'll just go at it.
Okay, go ahead and roll an attack. You just punch the tree.
Just punch the tree. Punch the
Punch the
fucking
tree.
tree. Just punch the goddamn tree.
I think wood has an AC of 10, so you got to beat a 10. Don't roll a 1.
Advice is to touch grass, not punch tree.
God damn it.
I may have accidentally clicked that when I was scrolling.
Oh my
1d20. Oh, that's the attack roll.
I
Oh
will let
no!
Biff, if you want to use that die in the pool, I am totally all for you re-rolling.
You want to re-roll it and see if it's an
Yeah.
8?
Please don't miss the tree.
It's gonna be an 8.
And see, an 8 would be a 1, so.
14.
Okay, that's
Okay.
better.
14.
So, what happens is you do your dance and you do a little shadow box and you jog up to it and you go to strike at it. And as you do, there's this resistance in the air, like a magnetic force repelling, as though the arcane symbol is aware of your imminent destruction of it. Roll damage. As you push and adjust and twist your arm a little bit more to find this thing through the resistance, you take off a chunk of tree bark across the runic array. As you guys watch on, you see a crackle of what looks to be lightning streaked with red, and you feel the wash of heat and scent of sulfur billow over the group, centered on Biff. Biff, you are bathed in hellfire. As you take 9 points of fire damage. Roll me a D100.
Ooh.
I will leave this in your hands.
Oh boy.
Let me get the real dice. This is
Do you want my D100?
No, I'm gonna use Biff's dice.
Damn, she wasn't lying. That ass can fart. Sorry, I'm looking at a magic card. Got some solid flavor text. Shoot target opponent 17 times in the chin. Oh man. I love it.
That is gonna be 42.
42. As you rear back and pat yourself down of the hellfire, you see that the arcane runes, hell infernal letter, has been wiped clean from the tree, leaving a smoldering red crater. And you hear the sound of a crack in your bag, like glass breaking.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Biff immediately goes and looks in his bag.
You look through your bag. While you begin rifling through your bag, still smoldering and smoking, Verdi, you hear something just kind of whisper against your left ear. Whole lot of good that did him. He should know. You
I
get more flies with honey.
I flinch and look in that direction.
You look out and you see nothing. Give me a perception check. Biff, you find these flail snail glass that Unk had left you. It is not broken, but there is a hairline fracture running through it. It looks as though any kind of careless handling will cause the glass to break. You do not know what this means for you.
24.
24. You heard it next to your ear, but there's something odd about the way it sounds. And you are reminded of a stage trick from back when you were living the city life back in Aegis, of ventriloquism and the throwing of one's voice. In your right ear, you hear, "You seem like a nice sword. Could I borrow your ear?"
Who's talking to me?
Say that out loud, and your friends hear you say that.
Pardon.
Someone's talking to me in my ears. I don't know where they are. I agree to nothing.
So, as you say that, Bones, from behind you, from just left of your left ear, am I to presume you are the brains of this operation? I'd like to meet you all, but I'm not sure if I can show myself just yet. Adventure is hard to predict. What brings you to these woods, might I ask?
Oh, the bones hears it too.
Oh, good. I'm not going crazy.
In your right ear, Bones, you hear, "Searching for treasure, or more altruistic pursuits." Everyone has their pursuits. It's what makes us similar in all the ways that matter. No, this is not one of the ones that you remember. The voice is new to you. It is new to you. Friend. I like you. I think I would like to like you. You may call me Mortimer, and I would like to make a proposition. If our pursuits are in alignment, which I think they may be. Very well. No agreements made. Would you and yours kindly indulge me and meet me in my office? I assure you, no harm will come to you, so long as you don't get blade happy on me. I would rather dislike that. But you did call me friend. I'm willing to trust a little. You all see that Bones is having some kind of conversation. Those of you with keen hearing, Verdi and Karn, you guys can actually hear the sound of this whispering voice. There is a present sound being emanated. It is not psychic in nature.
His office. Verdi kind of looks around, like very confused.
Can we detect the direction it's coming from?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Galleon.
He
Galleon.
he got compressed into the.
Oh, he's not in a tiny cube. It would never happen to him.
He got off the ship when it stopped.
Gallium is kind of looking around and pacing around the group, mace in hand. He looks to be fully alert with his lens-like eyes shuttered into squints, and he's looking around. You are saying there is voice. Gallium does not hear voice. Demon?
The demon.
Show yourself, demon. Gallium would like to have word with you. And he pounds his mace on his metal hand. You got one of them right. I want the big one to stay outside. I don't like the cut of his jib. Typically. What do you say? Pay me a visit. Very well. There's a momentary pause, and the voice goes quiet to your left. Behind Galleon, far in the distance away from Galleon, those of you with high perception bones looking straight ahead at it, you see a hole appear about 5 feet above the ground, wreathed in red flame. An intricately woven rope with silver and gold thread lowers down from the hole.
This asshole's in a rope fort.
Are we in trouble?
What? No, you will not go without Galleon. This is a bad idea. Pouts at you. Fine. Galleon will give you several minutes. But if anything should happen, Galleon will start swinging at hole in wall. By wall, Galleon means ceiling. And by ceiling, Galleon means sky. Bifno.
No.
Pounds his mace one more time in his palm.
We have no choice would be interesting thing to say, but we absolutely do.
Absolutely have a choice. You can fuck off into the woods and start breaking trees if you so choose. But someone has noticed you.
Perhaps it would be useful to find out what manner of creature this thing is.
Devils are deal makers. Devils are lawful and abide by their words, but will trip you up in the fine print. A demon will make a deal, but then turn on you and eat you. The devil you know. So, Bones, you approach the rope?
I will be right there with Bones.
Karn approaches the rope. Who doesn't approach the rope? Who is
Alright,
genre savvy?
Verdi sees Karn and Bones go, and he's kind of like, well, I can't just let them go, so he follows along.
Ah, yes, FOMO.
Biff is Bones's unofficial bodyguard for the sake of keeping Reg happy, so he will not stay behind.
All right. So, Roar, are you going in? Leah, you going in? Are you two sane?
I'm going.
Roar's going. All right, Leah.
Can I identify that this is actually, is this rope trick or is this something slightly different to look like
The
rope trick?
flames surrounding the opening are different to you. It looks like an approximation of rope trick. It looks similar, but you, with just your passive arcana, sense that something is unique about it. In the same way, perhaps, that Roar's portable hole is somewhat unique. Seems to be a modification of a spell, for lack of a better phrasing.
I'm gonna say like, I'm trying to determine if this is like literally a portal, or if this is like a
A demiplane?
Yeah.
You are thinking demiplane. It has the markings of one. It looks like the rope fort or the rope trick spell. So you estimate perhaps this is a demiplanar magic.
And do I know what happens when you dispel rope trick?
Everything inside is shunted out
Where?
to the next available space.
So over where the portal is.
That would be the traditional use of the magic, yes.
Well, I don't think I will be going up the rope because I'm a caster elf and acrobatics are not my thing.
All right. You can stay outside and be the contingency and dispel if need be. So,
Although if I get any inclination that the owner is within hearing distance, I will comment on nice aesthetics. Because
oh goodness gracious!
just like passing like thumbs up equivalent.
You mention that, and you hear a voice next to your long and slender ear. I appreciate the finer things in life. So, all but Leah make your way to the rope and begin to climb up. Bones in the lead. You take hold of this silky and soft and pleasant to the touch rope in between your hands. And with all you've experienced in the last couple days, you know magic when you sense it. There's something magical about this rope. You begin to climb up, and it is nothing for you. You are Tabaxi, you are Rogue, you are Klein. You pop your head up into a spacious and dimly lit interior, cast in hues of red and purple, with smooth and polished, dark and deep purple stone, with veins of pale, almost periwinkle imperfections in the stone itself. The walls themselves are faceted with polished red stone and craggy ruby crystals all along the walls that seem to glow with this lambent, pale red light. The ceiling is worked stone, as though scalloped and polished obsidian. You look along the path before you, and you see this long stretch of space between you and the portal you entered through, to find what appears to be a massive pile of glittering golden coins, furnished bureaus and wooden cabinets and display cases of items of all kinds, glass polished orbs, what looks to be a fiddle made of gold, a longsword of polished silver and platinum hilt, tools of war, items of beauty. And seated in this pile of gold is a modest throne made of gold and satin red cushions, upon which sits a humanoid, roughly 5 feet tall by the looks of it, with knees that bend back like that of a goat, with a thin midsection and pronounced rib cage, devoid of any kind of defining male or female accoutrement. Their shoulders are spiked, their skin is red, and their face is wide with large, lambent yellow eyes, a toothy maw, where it's hard to tell where the lips end and the teeth begin, jagged in its smile. And a pair of horns that pull back from the top of the head and go around the back of the long and pointed ears like that of a ram. A pair of leathery wings are folded neatly behind him as he reclines, watching you enter with a grin. What kind? Arcana? Arcana, history, or religion to identify what the creature is. Investigation to... I don't know, what are you investigating? What are you trying to divine? Dirty 20 is good for me. Arcana. Well, what are you trying to divine? Where you are? The creature's origin? What this is? This is devil. Absolutely 100% devil. This appears to be an imp, but it's way too big. It's like an imp grew up, hit puberty twice, and now it's just chilling. Well, welcome to my humble boudoir, my emporium. Come closer. Take a look around. Window shopping is always free. "100% a devil. With a 20, this is a devil. It looks like an imp, but it's very large." So as you make that check and you look about, your allies begin to make their way up one by one. One thing that you notice is that there's the scent of incense in the air. It is smoky. It is somewhat sweet smelling. Generally, these creatures are associated with brimstone and foul things. But as you see censers in the distance kind of puffing, pale blue and white smoke. It does seem as though this creature does like certain comforts. So Karn, you make your way up. Verdi, Biff, Roar, one by one, you make your way up. Roar, the Arcanist in you immediately recognizes what is in these containers. These are magical items just by looking at them. Tools of war, items of utility, and a fuck ton of gold. You begin to putter around and search the area, window shop at your leisure. You know that you are a guest here. Hands in pockets. Hands in your pockets. You see that he kind of glances to follow you, and his eyes are the solid yellow color. You can't tell if he's focusing on you, side-eyeing your companions. They're like lenses.
This place is quite nice.
He smiles. I do like a good story, but for the sake of brevity, I am known by many as the Imp. You may call me Mortimer, as a token of our friendship. New it may be. As far as my story, I like nice things. I like to barter them, accumulate them. As do my friends. Are you familiar with, I suppose you wouldn't be, the Nine Hells, the hierarchy, the rules, regulations, and contracts therein?
No. No.
And you know it's a shit deal for everyone involved. I came topside vacation 1 year, stayed for 100 more, and found a nice and cozy means to stay here indefinitely. Acquisition, trade, and deals of the material keep me topside. Adventurers like you, well, they're good for business. Does that satisfy your cravings for a story? His brows lift and he nods. My card's on the table. I noticed what your meaty friend did to the arcane ward. Would I be wrong to assume you've got your eyes set on a pyramid of black stone steps? Go ahead and roll insight against a fiend. What are you trying to suss out? Don't you have ear for deceit or something? Inquisitor Rogue? Okay. Ear for deceit might come later then.
I'm also gonna roll for insight.
Okay. So you can go ahead and roll an insight check. Verdi, you want to roll insight as well? You may. Yeah, sure, go for it.
I am rolling so many nat ones.
Nat 1. Verdi,
Nat 1.
Verdi, you're kind of charmed by this guy. He does seem like a little bit of a fop, but out of all the demons and devils you've met, he hasn't tried to kill you yet, which is pretty cool. Also, he's got a really swaggy throne. Let's see here. So, with a 20, with a dirty 20, what are you trying to divine from him? His story is the veracity of his story, the intent. Intent. To get you? Yeah. You have dealt with pockmarked Poe in the past. A man who cares more for goals than people. And you sense a similarity here that he's not looking at you as though you are a sweet piece of soul. No. He needs something that only an adventurer can do. And you kind of suss out that he's working his way toward that. He inclines his head to nod. He glances at your compatriots and looks them over. Judging by the boat, the things you have on you. General air about you and yours. You seem competent. The badges are interesting as well. You seem capable. You should know what you're getting yourselves into. He looks to you and his brows kind of raise as though nodding? Question mark? He nods his head. I am willing to impart on you what I know. For free, at gratis. But I would ask that you hear out a request afterwards. A proposition. Quid pro quo. And he glances toward the rest of the party. The trees have all been marked by a man who is brilliant, insane, undying, and opportunistic, and very, very deep in debt. Smart as he is, he's warded the entirety of his little domicile. Keeps people like me out. But those of you with souls to spare, you can get in with the right keys. The ghouls and ghasts, they would prefer no one get in. But again, you look capable. So very capable. As he stares at Biff and looks his musculature over.
Why do you keep talking like that? All of the
You've got a very biteable bicep.
Thank you.
4-course meal. Oh, slabber man you are. Sorry. A little excited. I haven't seen anyone in quite a while.
A little erotic, but go on.
I'm glad you agree. I could give you a key. I could get you in. Break the arcane barrier with a twist and a click. With your souls intact, you'll get through the first barrier, get inside. But I want something in return. Something juicy, something new. All the debts he's acquired, all of the tools, the trinkets, the arcane artifacts. Well, you don't need all of them, do you? Spare some material wealth for a beggar prince such as me. Keep me and my boys fed, as it were.
What is the name of this person in debt?
Ragor. A man convinced that he could defy the natural order. Escape not only death, no, but contract as well. Sold his soul to a number of parties. Many of them would like to collect. As for me, well, really, I just want his stuff. Just the toys, the tools, the swag. Something to line my walls. Something new and shiny. Something befitting of a war profiteer. Regular island lore. You rack your brain. And you know that there are many people who have gone out into these jungles trying to find fortunes. You know that there are a number of people who have tried to find Berkelberry, the key component to the elixir of life. You know that there are many who have tried to tap into the power of undead potential. The phrase, the name Iya Drophai comes to mind. It is a country far, far away that is said to be run by liches, undying kings. As far as you know, none of them have turned their sights to Tekal. None of them have needed to. Or, as far as you know, they haven't needed to. You can kind of suss out that this place should be a potential point of research for undead entities, vampires, liches, the like. You have touched base with Cowled, and you know that she was assaulted by a cod of liches, a band of brothers, 3 in all, who ransacked her tomb, stole her shit, left her to die in the plane of negativity. Rather, wither. Can't really die if you're dead. You're surprised a little bit that this is the first time you've heard of it, because the island is ripe for exploitation. The fine details, the name, the multiple soul bartering, no. You can't put a face to the name or a story to the tale. As you mull this over, the imp wraps his talon-like fingertips upon the armrest of his chair, looks about the group, grins, looking you over. Pleased to have company, or perhaps seeing something you don't? What's everyone else doing?
I'm gonna say, as long as the quote unquote rope for what's going on is, if the door's open, can I hear what's going on up there?
You can hear some muffled conversation, yeah. The door is open. You can hear some muffled conversation from inside. No one is screaming. No one is lashing out, hollering. You hear Gallium pound his mace into his fist. 4 minutes. 4.5 minutes. 5 minutes. He seems to be counting the seconds and mentioning aloud how much time has passed.
After one of those minute counts, I will tell him everything seems to be proceeding cordially, at least.
Cordial is what they do. Then they pull the rug out from under you.
He makes a gesture as to spit. Nothing comes out, of course, but the impetus is there. And the imp is going to roll an insight check into you, Bones. Are you being deceptive? Deceptive. Okay. Roll a deception check.
So nothing happened to the markings when they got close. It's just a noted null magic area. And they only recoiled when attacked. So what would be the harm of just not taking this offer and going forward?
He did mention that there was a ward and that he had a key. However, you guys are resourceful. You might be able to find another way in. 24. Is it meet or beat? I have to meet it or beat it, or I have to beat it? If you meet it, you beat it, okay. The imp grins. The imp grins slowly, and you see his brows lift, and the facsimile, the approximation of concern, of understanding. He arches his brows slightly, and if he could pout, his fangs would.
I mean, there's very little to lose in your case. I don't want your souls. I like to think I've grown above that. But I would like you to do a few things for me, if you choose.
He shrugs a little bit.
To work together.
What would those things be? Aside from giving you some of the loot that may be there.
You don't even have to give it to me. I only want you to do what you did out there. The tree. The rewards inside. Marks that keep
He gestures to himself.
those like me from appearing in a spark of hellfire. Break the wards, and I will send a few of my friends to collect what is of interest to me. I'm not even asking you to draw blood. Though I'm certain you will do that anyway.
Out of some mild curiosity, what was the deal you had with this Gregor?
Rhaegar.
He slowly shakes his head.
No personal beef. He's made enemies. No one would be upset if he were to come to an unfortunate loss of material items. No one would weep for his loss. But everyone would like a piece of him.
He lifts his hands.
I've got no skin in that game. Powerful arcanists have powerful tools. There is a war being fought elsewhere. Nothing you need to worry about. But I would earn a great deal of favor from some powerful people if I were to come across these particular items of interest. You mortals like honesty, right? Right. He looks to you, Bones. Cards on the table.
He tilts his head. And then he slowly begins to shake.
Imagine being a young kitten, and you found yourself in, what do you call them, the houses where they keep the sweets, a candy store. After hours, no one to slap your hand. There's candy in that pyramid. I can smell it. Once the wards are brought down, I will send in an associate, or 12, to root around and find what's interesting. Do this for me, and I can promise further favors in the future.
Do I think that we can take this devil or this
Oh,
imp?
did my headset just go dead? Hold on. Shit.
I'm gonna say, metagaming wise, since I'm not technically in there, there's too many variables for Leo's liking. And
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
We can hear you.
Hey,
Switching
Yeah.
device. Hold
Yeah.
on. All right. Sorry, I disconnected my headset. It's not charged enough.
We heard everything that you said, so don't worry about that.
Okay, cool.
My question was, does it look like, do I feel as Roar that we can take this imp?
That you can take this imp. You can roll. Fuck. You can roll like an Arcana check if you want to try to see. Well, maybe he's a spellcaster. You could roll like a history check to see. Well, maybe he's capable of doing something. Arcana.
Stay
So-
with Arcana for the moment.
Settling on Arcana. So he's very confident for some reason. He's let you into his home. You know what an imp is, and it should be a third of the size of this guy, if not smaller. You see that there are a number of magic items surrounding him, and a vast amount of wealth. You think perhaps if you were on even footing, you may be able to, but you were in his space.
Yeah, that was part of what I was thinking about. I was thinking about dispelling this room, or attempting to dispel this room. But I'm probably not going to do that. So as far as like the weapons, because I've been thinking about this for a minute, do any look like the make that would have been in the Sentinels? Because I know that there were 2 empty chests for Khaled's stuff.
Okay, so you try to suss out if there are specifically those ones stolen.
I was gonna say, if Caleb's gear got into this pawn shop.
Yeah. Roll in perception check.
Oh, hey, something I'm bad at.
Or investigation.
Yeah, I'll do investigation. I'll
Okay.
probably still get a bad roll because it's important to me, but we'll try it.
Sure. 26
Oh, 26.
investigation. You see a number of different items. You search for. You kind of pin this guy for a 2-bit pawn shop kind of guy, and you're looking for the specific stolen things from Coward's Rest. The cauldron, the gem. You do not find items that match those of the Sentinels, but you do see a longsword that is encrusted with jewels of all different manner. Along the hilt, you see what looks to be a silver rod with segments on it, as though it could be extended or collapsed. You see a wicked 2-headed scythe that has markings of the dragons of Chunan. You see a polished amethyst orb that has a lotus leaf etched into it, reminiscent of the Otonian religions. You see items from what appear to be all over the world collected here. But you don't see anything that matches the make of the silvered polearm or the cavalier's hammer. They're exotic. Ancient, perhaps, but you can't seem to find that which was stolen.
Yeah, I will. After eyeing everything and looking around, I get the feeling that you're not the only person that this area protects from. And I'd much rather not let you ruin things in that place. So it's a no from me.
He laughs. Ruin the place. Do you really think anything is worth preserving there? He's gutted it out. Everything inside is lost, transformed into his arcane laboratory from the roof to the ceiling. He's
Anything
already to
for
find the
your
place.
friends to go and get, is there?
He squints at you.
I merely want to rob the man blind.
The Gregor.
The Regor, yes. But if you're so keen on preservation, go read a book about Adnai, I guess.
He waves a hand dismissively at you.
I think we're done here. Do it on your own. Be my guest.
Out of character talk, I want to help him.
Verity wants to make a deal.
Go ahead.
I don't know. Leah's player says there's too many variables to potentially give the imp first dibs on shit in there.
So
You
tell
can
us,
roll an insight check to the last thing he said.
we don't
Yeah.
have to we don't have to give first dibs. We can like set aside stuff that we think look interesting, and
In
then
Yeah, in
um,
theory, we could raid the place and then take down the wards.
exactly.
You could.
Yeah,
What?
So
No, we would take like whatever door is keeping us from getting in would be good, and then
Yeah.
we'd have to lower the gate for everyone else.
Yeah, I think the wards and whatever we need to get through to get there are separate things.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he has basically spelled out that there is a ward that will prevent his kind from getting in, but someone with a soul with the right key can get inside. It seems as though it is warded from devils or fiends or extraplanar creatures.
And he
With
has the key. So he's
he's
basically saying we can get the easy way in if we
leave the back
make
door
Leave the
open.
door open.
yeah.
With a 16 insight roar, the way the imp bitterly spat out, there's nothing left. You don't think he's lying. You piece together this story about this Regger person, and you kind of feel your blood boil a little bit at this idea of someone coming in and retrofitting an ancient temple of worship. Because that is essentially what Mortimer is telling you has happened.
yeah, I, I definitely feel that. I also know that we wanted to investigate the temple in the anyways, and there's even if it was ransacked, there's still pieces of importance there. And if there are runes to protect from his kind, it seems they might have been there beforehand, and more Gregor might have just taken advantage of that to be able to do his work and be protected from
Certainly.
devils that would be interested in his work.
Uh,
That's how Rory is thinking about it. So
with
it's
with
yeah.
that same insight check, you also detect a certain quirk of the language. Mortimer has mentioned robbing Regger blind. You could trap him in a contract. If you are clever, you know it can be done. I'll leave that with you.
Another point, like off. I want to do this, but a point against doing it is he mentioned a war somewhere else. If this is tied into Ruins War, we kind of don't want to help this guy. So
You guys don't know about Ruins War.
Well,
yeah, like
that's a
this
little
is
Yeah.
bit of
OOC.
metagaming.
So
You
that said,
and if you want to probe him about it, you can.
yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
That said, he says
Sorry.
there's a war elsewhere that we don't need to concern ourselves about. And
Yes.
that's like 6 kinds of red flags.
So many red flags. All right.
Yeah, and that's where Roar's at. Even if it's been ransacked, it's still we've seen what getting rid of some shit in a place can help in an area. Why suddenly allow freaking devils to get into it and ruin it further?
Okay. So it seems that two are very decidedly no. One is mostly no. I think Biff is leaning toward no. Karn seems ambivalent, and Verdi seems keen on agreeing. I'm going to pull back away from Icy for a moment. As a group, this does not seem to be a path that you will all agree to pursue.
Yeah, this is definitely something everyone needs to be on board with, and this is like too strong nose with thus reasoning.
Normally, I would be like, "Oh, hey, fucking dude, make a deal in the background, and then betray the party." But I don't think that will fly at this table. So,
Oh, Verdi wouldn't do that anyway. If everyone isn't
it's
on board,
vehemently no.
he will
So,
lemur along, not lemur, lemming along.
the imp steeples his fingers and looks coolly between the lot of you. Sucks his teeth.
I'm sensing a lot of reticence.
He looks down and his lids lower, and he glances askance at the group.
Perhaps I came on too strong. Either way, I do not think we will come to an agreement on this day. I don't believe in hard feelings. But perhaps it would be best if you all...
He kind of flits his hand and gestures a sweeping motion toward the portal.
We go about our separate ways.
But absent indeed. For what it was worth, Mortimer, you were a good host.
I do enjoy the finer things. Company is one of them.
He licks his lips.
Should you change your mind, I am always in business.
And how would one contact you?
He smiles.
Don't call me. I'll call you.
Biff nods and um, begins to lead the way out.
Biff, you lead the way out.
Oh, by the way, Beefcake, you may want to get that,
He glances at your bag.
crack worked out. Toodles.
Mm. And Biff continues out.
Biff continues out. One by one, you make your way out of the domain of the imp Mortimer. And down out of the portal, following the silken rope to the ground below. As soon as the last of you make your way out, the rope is pulled tight, and the portal closes. Galleon looks the group over. This is a good idea. You did not tell him much, yes? Oh, Galleon does not like the tricky ones. Come, let us figure out how to deal with three problem. You're mentioning we are moving on foot, yeah? You will get tired, Galleon will carry.
I don't get tired, but maybe you could carry Biff.
He kind of points at Biff, kind of points at Bones, kind of points at Birdie, and nods. So, you guys pack up your things and begin to make your way toward the warded woods, approaching the buried cigarette within, not knowing what lies ahead. However, the meeting with the imp was not entirely fruitless. You do know that there are ghasts and ghouls who would much prefer that no one gets within, as well as some kind of arcane lock that acts as one entrance to the place with hints of what may lie within the pyramid itself, and warnings of arcane madness. You find that the imp may have slipped more valuable information than he may have wanted to for free. Congratulations! You have successfully finished the encounter with Mortimer the Imp. A social encounter, perhaps a combat encounter, depending on how things went.
Depending on whether Gallium may force his way up the rope.
Depending on whether or not Gallium forces his way into the rope. Up the rope into the hole. Thank you guys so much for playing. I'm going to call it here. It's almost 11:30, and I'm feeling snacky.
Thank you very much for the game.
We got a wedding tomorrow. I should have stopped a half hour ago. Hit me up in IMs if you have questions or you want to do side play. I will catch you guys next time.
Thanks for game. Have a good
Have a
night.
good night, everyone.
Peace out, guys.
Good night.